Good. What's good, Bernie? You good? How you doing, man? Is that loud? No, loud. This is 24 and 17. He's not. Is it? I don't know, man. Talk. I don't know what he was saying in DMs. Yo, double good reviews for the Deadpool Wolverine. Appreciate it, man. What did you think? You should have commented, man. I need that. I need them likes and comments out here. You don't know Kais in that? I don't know. It's just all this stuff about age of consent and stuff that's going on right now. Just checking it out. Watching Nitmerks react. Yeah, whatever. Let's see what Abin Preach got to say about Ava Tyson. Predator. I want your. Oh God. She's only 14. What? Yo, nah, it doesn't do gays. Disabled the gay feature. What? What I did. Chris, the meme god. Did you set up the hentai bot or was it for someone else? I believe you're not safe for work. Jesus. What do you think of the Olympics mocking God? At first, they said the Olympics was mocking the Last Supper, right? But then they backtracked and said it was just referencing a Greek dinner or something like that. I don't know, man. It's just I don't know what's going on, man. I think some of the offense is just an excuse to be offended, but I also think, why would you even do that? Why would you poke the dog? Why would you poke the bear like that, man? Like they did it deliberately, you know. So you're just as bad as the people that are making a big deal out of it. Because why would you do that? If you're gonna do a drag show, just do a drag thing. Why are you gonna invoke religion into it? And you know those things don't mix well. You know it's gonna cause backlash. And they're just trying to get people talking. They deleted everything anyway, so I don't know. Olympics losing ad sponsor now. That's crazy. Looks like it looks like the pendulum's really swinging, man. Because that used to be right wingers that used to lose ads and get cancelled, and they have to delete all their stuff off social media. People really come. I knew this was going to happen, where the right started to get more traction, and the right wingers are starting to get louder. And the right wingers are starting to be the new council culture now. Not saying that um it's not warranted. It's kind of warranted when the left have been doing it for so long, but it's just going to lead to bad things. Wait. Over the last few days, I've been aware of serious allegations. This is old, isn't it? Have you heard about Penguinz0 and Sneeko's debate? I'm really interested in that. Chris has small toes. I got hose. Calling. Nice shot, pickle. Pickle, he's behind you. So there's a barbecue. Help me, F me. Better make me. Okay. Who's he talking to? The kid? Oh, I don't know. That's crazy. You haven't seen what's happened to Penguin? We'll watch Hypnotic's video and I'll go through it with you. Not. Stupid. Everybody's getting cancelled on both sides. Yeah. The right are playing the left's game now, pretty much. Abbott's stupid, man. See the comments. What's going on? Chris Tyson just broke the internet over all this shit, man. So the guy left his girlfriend and baby to be trans. Yeah, I know. And also, apparently, he's a child predator or something. I don't really understand the full context. There's so much stuff. But it looks like they used to be in the group chat and they used to talk dirty to like 14, 13, 12-year-olds in the group chat while they were 20, 21 themselves or something. It's just crazy, man. 2020. People been doing this since like 2008 and that. Internet was wild back in 2000, mid 2000s, man. In the forums and shit. 'Did you see the Sneeko Penguinz0 debate? You ain't seen it, I hope sure. Yeah, you said you haven't seen it yet. This is old news, man. Are they late to this or something? Anyway, let's see what Philip DeFranco's got to say. Sneeko and Penguinz0. Let's see how it's going to annoy me today. Yeah, a lot of child predators apparently the last month or week or so. You hate Philip? I wouldn't say I hate him. He does frustrate me a little sometimes, but he's alright. I mean, he doesn't. I'm sure if he gave his opinions more, I'd probably hate him a lot more. Well, go on, Philip. How are you going to spin this? Just ignoring all the drama. Probably. And then he backtracked. How can you say? How can you say that? And then at the same time be so against like the the age of consent and stuff, you know? Like be so against what Sneeko's saying about getting married below 18 years old or something because it's contradictory. I think both are wrong. Like I think a child can't consent. Anyone under the age of 16, 17, they can't consent, right? That's the agreed upon age to protect children. Whether some kids are maybe like 13, 14, 15, and they got a mental capacity, mental ability of a 20-year-old, or whether or not it's just to protect kids overall. That's why we've got the hard set age of 17 and 18 and whatever it is, depending on where you are. And Charlie was like, "Oh, but when it comes to general taking HRT and cutting off your penis and all that kind of stuff, is fine. Like as long as the parents say it's okay, it's fine." And it's so stupid. Phil's gotta be scared to be count. Oh, for sure, he's always trying to be good. But yeah, man, this just is just embellic of just Charlie all over, like his channel, the way he just says the most basic thing, the most basic opinion. He never has a controversial opinion, and now he's got one controversial opinion. I don't. But my issue is, it's not so much that he has a controversial opinion; it's the fact that he thought it wasn't controversial. He tries to go to. He always goes to the most safe opinion. He tries to not piss anybody off, and it's irritating because it's not his real opinion. And I don't like people like that. I mean, I like Moist Critical's videos, but he's always rubbed me a little bit the wrong way because he frustrates me a little bit because I feel like he always tries to hide his real opinions, and I hate when people just try and appeal to the majority, and then that fucked up on him because he thought the majority thought mutilating your kids, even though to the point where he's contradicting himself. He thought the majority thought mutilating your kids is fine because that's like a popular left wing idea or whatever. Because, but things are changing now, man, and yeah, you can't. You got to start having your opinions, man. You got to start having your own opinions. Of course, I knew Philip was going to show people saying, actually, it's not the same thing. It's okay to get married. Insane how he got bullied off the internet for saying that trans kids should be allowed to transition. Meanwhile, Sneeko, the person he was debating, was still allowed to have a platform despite advocating for child marriage and replacing the age of consent with the age of maturity. What? Sneeko advocated for child marriage, and this is what you all are focused on. Yeah, because you're the ones who, because transitioning kids is something that people are actually doing. That's what it is. That's why people are focused on it. Whereas the whole marrying underage ain't happening. And then he tried to backtrack. Hyperbole. Oh shit, I didn't know that. I'm being crazy, man, Brianna. So that's something Andrew Tate would post. Damn, he's come back with fire. It was all like, I'm sorry, it was a mistake before when he left, and now he's back. He's like, good one, she her. Like, he's gone back to his persona. Like he's like ready to beat everyone up or something. I don't know. Was he got receipts or what? Well, if he's not in prison, what did he do? That's like it's weird. If you, I don't know what the DMs are. Have we even seen the Doctor Disrespect DMs? I don't know what the DMs are. Like, yeah, what's going on? Can't say a name, but I'll say 777. Oh, thanks for the follow, man. What did he do? Let me guess. Something to do with a white girl? That's terrible. Oh, murder. Oh, that's disgusting, man. Poor guy, man. They need to give him all the money, man. That's crazy. Weak. What about being in prison for 30 something years? For something you didn't even do. Here we go. I think a lot of people forget that you can't argue reason with people like Sneeko. Yeah, Critical could have explained it better, but Sneeko wouldn't have allowed him to speak, or he would have twisted his words. There's no reasoning with the willfully ignorant. The stream of Destiny crossed Sneeko a dozen times. Sneeko is incapable of taking information. Well, look, all Moist had to say was the age of consent is there as a hard stop so we can protect children. It's a hard 18 so we can protect. That's all. Most Critical couldn't even say that. Where's that guy? Hypnotic. I wanted to see his take, his actual video on it. By the way, I saw former BBC News charges. Yeah, what's going on? And then there was something else that I saw about an 11-year-old boy that was abused by his. I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing at how crazy this all is. What's it? Come on. Where is it? The heck? Four-year-old held at knife point. Yeah, what the heck is this, man? I know, right? Did you read the title? Oh, you can't. You guys can't see the title. But listen to this video. It's crazy. Crazy. You can't hear the sound. Is it low? Wait, you couldn't hear the sound all this time? Don't tell a lot. So what were you thinking I was doing when I was watching Philip DeFranco? No way you couldn't hear the sound. Really? It's like really loud. Let me see. You still can't hear the sound? Oh my god.
Who was invited to the couple's now canceled wedding on
July
July 27th. But obviously, everything has changed. He was betrayed in a really big way, but he was madly in love, and you can't just turn that off. And you know what? I can understand that. You meet somebody, you fall in love, you go on dates, you feel like she is the one, you risk one of your ACLs, those beautiful pieces of meat in your leg, to ask to have the hand in marriage, and you think it's going to be a happily ever after, and you get the ultimate plot twist under the sun that she's in her classroom making out with a bunch of 11-year-olds. And I can understand some people falling madly in love and not.
That's crazy. Hold on, let me see if I can. That's crazy. All this time I had no sound. Well, I guess the stream starts now.
Being able to turn that off. But given the circumstances, you might want to turn that shit off steadfast. Because if you don't, you're going to be looking stuck, stupid, and dumb for a long time. Bergman is now hiding on her grandparents' farm and avoiding most of her former friends, including the bridal party from her aborted ceremony. Great pieces of wordplay. She seems embarrassed to face us.
Bergman, 24, has been charged with first-degree child sexuality of a child under the age of 13. How are you going to do stuff with a kid that's... Oh, my God. According to charging documents obtained by the Post, Bergman was a teacher at Rivercrest Elementary School when she allegedly started an affair with an 11-year-old student. She allegedly kissed him several times in her classroom, either after school while the other students were at lunch. Police say that she moved his desk closer to her so she could rub his legs.
The friend tells the Post she ghosted everyone, which is kind of to be expected. Bergman, who is 24, has been charged with first-degree child sexual assault of a child under the age of 13. According to the charging documents obtained by the Post, Bergman was a teacher at Rivercrest Elementary School when she allegedly started the tawdry affair with an 11-year-old student. She allegedly kissed him several times in the classroom, either after school or while the other students were at lunch. Police also say that she moved his desk closer to hers so she could rub his legs during... No. Question.
I shouldn't... this is fucked up, man. Look at this title. This guy, I don't know where he finds his news, man. A fat 340-pounder sits on her adopted son and kills him. I can't even watch this because it's... Shit, I can't. Hypnotic. Will it come up? Woke streamer.
You know, all of these stories that are coming out about Thomas Lockley regarding Yas. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about Moist Critical. Now, I did a live stream of Moist Critical versus Sneeko, and honestly, that live stream exposed to me how a lot of people love to get in their feelings about people they may necessarily idolize or whatever the case may be. It really showed a lot over that entire situation. But honestly, like I said in my live stream, I think both of them performed terribly. However, there was a certain segment within that live stream that I feel like the absolute destruction of an argument took place, and that was when Moist Critical decided to advocate for the transitioning of underage kids.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
This is the first time I've ever seen this guy in controversy, man. Is this Yellow Flash 2.0? feels like it a little bit.
Yes,
It always
ladies
tries
and
to come up
gentlemen,
with the
Voice
next
Critical
news.
Charlie, somebody who I watch quite
No, it's
often.
not
I
Yellow
watch
Flash
his
2,
videos a
if
lot.
that's
I'm a
what
big
you're
fan
thinking.
of his, but I will never get to the point where I ever idolize someone. I'm unable to critique someone's ideology or point of view, especially when I feel like they're being disingenuous. And when it came to Moist Critical's arguments, I did not believe him in the slightest when he tried to advocate for this stuff, because I feel like he was taking the safe route, right? Charlie is somebody who I've seen in the past and, take the route of least resistance when it comes to public arguments or arguments that he knows could potentially lead to cancellation. He takes the path of least resistance like a lot of these big time streamers usually do, because they don't want to get in trouble. So the advocation of transing an underage kid, I felt like was absolutely insane, and Sneeko definitely trapped him very easily, which was, again, if you are in an argument with Sneeko and you make Sneeko look good, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. So let's get into this video. But
Well, that's what happens when you don't have your own solid beliefs, isn't it? Like Charlie just literally just sits there and he's like, just saying the popular thing or what he thinks is the popular thing, and this time he was very wrong. That's why I always used to get frustrated with his channel, because he used to get so much views and stuff, and he just won't have his own opinion. You can just tell he's just trying to say the most typical thing. He doesn't have his own beliefs. If he had his own beliefs, it's easy to win a debate or lose a debate, but at the very least you can see that you're solid in your ground. But he didn't sound solid in his ground at all. He sounded very weak compared to Sneeko if you watch that debate.
of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So now we have a 2-some-odd-minute video clip from Charlie's live stream where he essentially tries to backtrack, right? And this is where I cannot let this happen, right? You're not going to backtrack on this argument. You're not going to pretend like everybody misconstrued it. You're not going to pretend like you didn't understand the question. You completely understood the conversation that you were having, because not only did you make the claim, but then you tried to justify the claim during the stream too. You tried to explain why you felt that way. You don't do that with hyperbole. You don't do that with a question that you didn't understand. No, you answered it, and then you tried to explain your reasoning behind answering it the way that you did. So let's get into this clip, guys. Let's make sure the volume's at its maximum, and let's do this.
And now I give a perspective on something that immediately gets misconstrued, and I do recognize a lot of it's my fault. I assumed that Sneeko was talking in
Big
hyperbole.
YouTubers and Twitch are scared to have their own opinions, and they're just grifters. Yeah, that's so true. Maybe it's nice being a smaller YouTuber like me, a lot smaller YouTuber, because at least I can say my own opinions more or less without getting destroyed. Who's a big YouTuber that says their own opinions? Some of they just end up being called right-wingers, I guess.
About a 9-year-old getting their dick cut off, because I didn't have the assumption that anyone thought that is how transitioning works. There is, under no circumstances, any legality behind a kid saying, I want to change genders, and then immediately going in and getting their dick cut off. That doesn't happen. I thought he was just talking in hyperbole. Obviously, no one says that's good. That's not at all what I was fucking saying.
So this is coping and seething. All right, this is 100% coping and seething. You absolutely did not think that this conversation was in hyperbole, because you were arguing from a true legality standpoint. You were talking about consent from the parents. You were talking about consent from the child. So in your conversation, you were advocating for this so long as the parents who do this for clout, by the way, said that it was okay, right? So those parents who put their kids out there, those parents who magically have all their children be trans, because, you know, that's totally numerically possible. You know, all these people who do this for clout, yeah, so long as they consent, it's perfectly fine to do a surgery. And it may not be a dick cutting surgery. It might be a top surgery. It might be whatever at the end of the day. It might be hormone therapy. You will do whatever so long as the parents, say that it's okay. Don't try to pretend like it was hyperbole, and don't try to pretend like you didn't understand the question. You're not a dumb guy. You understood it.
I thought he was talking about the overall point of a child transitioning, which is years-long process. And you can't even get that fucking surgery legally until you are 18. Like, I didn't think that was a literal
That's your problem,
statement he was
Charlie. You
making.
didn't think.
But you can get HRT, which again, That's essentially trying to chemically castrate yourself to some extent. You can get HRT. So just because you can't get the surgery, some of the more major surgeries, you can get minor surgeries and you can get HRT. So again, what is your belief here? Because you're trying to say, oh, well, in my world, it can't happen. So that's why, obviously, I didn't advocate for it. No, it can happen. It can happen. So do you advocate for it then? Again, this whole bullshit about hyperbole, it's all nonsense. He's obviously lying through his teeth.
I did not, and I guess I should have assumed that he was being literal, and that's on me.
Why is he trying to say as if like?
But I'm
trying to make it out as if like he's like, oh, Sneeko can't be serious, so I'm just gonna agree with him. But
I'm sure you can point to like fringe examples of like some evil doctors performing it on like kids or something. I'm sure that happens. There's corruption and everything. But I wasn't under the assumption that's what we were talking about.
Well, that's because you didn't have a control over the entire debate. That's the issue. You let Sneeko run circles around you, which again is crazy, because if you're ever in a debate where you make Sneeko look good, that's crazy, because Sneeko's the one that should probably be looking like the crazy one or the bad one, you know, most of the time, because that's just his personality. But you made him look good. That's wild.
But yeah, there's no winning on anything. Sneeko gets away with saying 12 to 15-year-olds can marry adults. I don't think his chat looks anything like the YouTube chat here. He literally, multiple times, reaffirms that he believes 12 to 15-year-olds can legally, morally, and should marry adults. And there is no problems for him.
That's not true. There is absolutely problems for him, because I roasted him in the live stream for that shit too. But again, you got to understand that there are different beliefs in the world, right? You are not the world view. And this is the problem that a lot of people in the US have. And this is why people get angry at me when I say this. You are not the world view. Your morality is based on your social structure of which you grew up in. And same thing for me. We both grew up in the same social structure. We grew up in the United States of America, where most people think that 18 years of age, that's the cutoff, that's the adult, that's the number, right? And I'm totally okay with that. But that doesn't mean that I could then go to another country and tell people what the fuck they should do and what beliefs they should have and what society's kind of structure they should have. Why should I have the ability to do that? That's not, I only care about my fucking country. I only care about my personal society. That's it. I'm not going to tell them what to do or what to believe or who to love or who to whatever. Even if I think it's fucking nasty, that's ridiculous. I think it's insane to put your worldview on everybody else, right? I think it's insane to throw around words like P word or whatever the case would be to people like, let's say Europe, for example. Age of consent is 16. Moist Critical was calling basically the entire country of Europe pedophiles. He was calling them pedophiles because they legally follow the age of consent, which is 16 over there for a lot of the country. So I think that's insane. I think it's insane to bastardize an entire country because they're following their laws. They're following their country's laws because our laws are different. Because the way we were brought up is different. I think that's insane. I think that honestly is insane. So again, and I also, just to clarify, like I said in the live stream, I think it's nasty when people who are from here go to other countries to sleep with people who are underage because it's legal over there. I think it's fucking nasty. You were brought up different. You were brought up in a totally different societal structure here in the United States, and you are purposely doing that to avoid any legal repercussions. So again, you can have a nuanced point of view.
Shit.
I'm not going to do this tribal mindset where you got to pick a side. I'm not picking either side. I'm not picking Moist Critical, and I'm not picking Sneeko. But what I'm talking about here is that Sneeko danced circles around you. And it's fucking insane that he danced circles around you. He should not have been able to do that, but you let him do it. And this is why you're getting the hate, and he is seemingly not getting any hate. But trust me, he is. In my comments on my live stream, people were attacking Sneeko too. There was people attacking both sides, because rightfully so.
But I said that I think it's okay for a child to transition, to learn about it. It's a process. You don't just go in and immediately get your dick cut off. That's not how it works.
Okay, but you didn't say that. See, that's the problem. You didn't say that. You didn't say, oh, it's okay for them to learn about it. No. You said it's okay for them to do it. That's not what you said.
There's therapy. There's other professionals that get involved years before any kind of surgery can even be an option. Because again, you have to be 18 for the fucking surgery in the first place.
You know,
you don't have to be 18 to take HRT
pretty much,
and other minor surgeries, though. So again, if you're talking about transitioning being a years-long process and the end game is the ultimate final surgery, then what about the minor surgeries that you're allowed to have? What about the HRT that you're allowed to take before you're 18? Do you advocate for that? Yes, that's the problem. You advocate for that. So you arguing hyperbole and all this other nonsense is not helping the fact that you argued in advocacy for this. This is the reason why you're getting hate, and it's not going to change. People thought better of you. I thought better of you, and I clearly found out, just like everybody else, that you're just a coward. That's really what it is. You're so scared, it seems, to talk out against this nonsense that you know is bad, that you have to dance around when you're explaining because you don't want to get canceled. It's so stupid. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.
Oh, come on. We had him. Yeah, so did you get more or less the gist of it, Bayona? Like what's going on? The whole Sneeko and Charlie thing? That's still like... The heck? Yeah, I don't trust big YouTubers anymore. I know, right? You know, Kai Cenat's been going through it. That's why you couldn't hear it before. Like, now I understand why you asked that question before. But Kai Cenat's friends getting in trouble with some child stuff now. I don't know. 14 human traffickers arrested at San Diego Comic-Con. What's going on? What do you think of Downey Jr. being Doom, eh? I made a video about it, but I don't know if you've seen it. Biological male how to destroy female boxer.
Como la derecha, y en la parte de este tercer episodio se estuvo comiendo en reiteradas ocasiones el jab y el recto.
Y bueno, pues aquí repasamos estos momentos de apremio para la mexicana, como observamos aquí.
Y'all are not gonna believe this, or maybe you will, depending upon your thoughts and or opinions post Olympic opening ceremony. But boxers, 2 of them, who failed gender test at the World Championships have been cleared to compete at the Olympics.
Probably.
Insane. There goes pictures of the 2 she-fellows. To be honest, I don't know how to refer to them. Regardless, let's go into the article. The International Olympic Committee has confirmed that 2 boxers who were disqualified from the World Championships last year for failing gender eligibility test will be allowed to fight in Paris. Iman Chelif of Algeria and Ling Yu Ting of Chinese Taipei, Taiwan, both start their Olympic campaigns this week. Khalif will meet the Italian Angela Carini in the 66 kg category, and Lin is expected to face an unnamed opponent in the 57 kg category on Friday. So the Algerian person is facing definitely a woman, and they don't know the opponent yet for Lin is what this looks like. The IOC's decision will be controversial, with the former world champion Barry McGuinness expressing his unease. In a post on Twitter, he wrote, "It's shocking that they're allowed to get this far. What is going on?" I could tell you how it's gotten this far. Years of this being unchecked, complemented by this feminist movement, which pushes equality of genders outside of looking at people and determining, this person shouldn't be competing against women. This person has the anatomy, the parts of a man and should not be competing in combat sports with a woman. And also, progenitors of this movement within LGBTQ are deeply embedded into media. So this has continued to spread without being checked. The situation has arisen because the World Championships last year was run under the auspices of the International Boxing Association, whose president, Umar Kremlev, told the Russian news agency the DNA tests had proved that they had XY chromosomes and thus were excluded from the sports events. Okay, so these people are intersex. That DNS had proved that they had XY chromosomes. If you have an XY chromosome, you're male.
Olympics also ban
and thus were excluded from the sports events. The IBA told The Guardian that it had made a decision following a comprehensive review and it was intended to uphold the fairness and integrity of the competition. Since then, the IBA has been banned from running the Olympic boxing tournament in Paris because of the long-running questions surrounding the governance issues and a series of judging scandals. That means the boxing in Paris is now being run under the auspices of the IOC's Paris 2024 boxing unit. Okay, that explains it. Because this boxing unit is going to have much more relaxed rules than the IBA. They're so relaxed, in fact, that they haven't even considered their chromosomes. I would imagine here their argument would be that they are intersex and they identify as a woman. And as far as the boxers go, the Taiwanese young man has yet to say anything. However, the Algerian man has, and he says it right down here. So you'll see right here the advertisement for the first fight, and it's coming up damn soon on August 1st. And you'll see here Khelef from Algeria with the XY chromosomes facing Karina of Italy with the XX chromosomes. And since all this has happened, footage back from 2022 of Khelef fighting a woman has gone viral.
A la mexicana Khelef, que se está llevando la contienda ahora en las repeticiones, el golpe de impacto. Sí, se vio claramente de nueva cuenta el recto en combinación hasta 5.
Yo, what kind of man goes into a sport to punch women? Okay, look at her. She wants no more. She feels the power. She realizes the difference.
5 golpes alcanzó a conectar, manejándose con el jab y otra vez en la combinación en el upper, otro golpe de impacto. Le van a aplicar otra cuenta de protección. Cuidado, porque si llega a una tercera ocasión es susceptible de que le detengan el pleito.
La velocidad de puños de Khelef no pudo contrarrestar lo rápido que desenfundaba tanto la izquierda como la derecha, y en la parte de este tercer episodio se estuvo comiendo en reiteradas ocasiones el jab y el recto.
Y bueno, pues aquí repasamos estos momentos de apremio para la mexicana, como observamos aquí que le estaban dejando el guante.
Okay. Look at the, how are they even the same weight class? Look at the difference here.
En el botón y la esquina azul.
That is a man. Damn it, he's the biggest one in there.
Corner de Algeria.
He's not even trying to be a girl.
Come on with the fake hug.
That's
es campeona de Golden Belt Series.
Aquí está por
South Park was
abandono.
right. But Macho Man Randy Savage, man.
Is not a man. You
That
know,
is,
the other chick
that he's not even trying.
Should have did a low blow, you know, just to see if it is going to react as a man should. And once you see the wincing, and the buckling and the doubling down onto the knees, look, I told you it was a guy. For the life of me, I don't know how women can still be feminists. I don't know how you guys can not come out in droves and fight against this shit. They're ruining women's sports. There's already issues in a lot of women's sports regarding getting people into seats. And now y'all got this. I mean, but I will say that this actually might drive viewing numbers, because I know I'm going to be watching this person's fight tomorrow. And I'm probably going to do another damn video about it when I watch him beat the shit out of whoever, the poor, lovely young Italian woman that doesn't know what's coming. Just to put this in perspective, I did a video in the past that talked about the greatest female boxer challenging an average male boxer.
Yeah, she's the female boxer who was really the best in the world. Nobody wanted to fight Lucia Riker. So she was sparring with guys. I mean, she was probably the best female boxer ever. And nobody knows who the hell she is.
Women fighting men is a very popular topic in combat sports.
Indeed.
Years ago, media reported that Ronda Rousey could beat Floyd Mayweather in a fight.
Yeah, bugging.
Today, there are still a lot of speculations that Amanda Nunes could beat male champions. well, this is literally the best female fighter of all time. And she actually fought a man. Nicknamed the Lady Tyson, Lucia Riker is a woman who conquered the world of kickboxing and boxing. During her reign across two sports, the media dubbed her as the most dangerous woman in the world. She hit so hard that in a sports science show, her punches exceeded the force of a male fighter by 200 pounds.
Of a male fighter, what in general?
A trainer who got hit by her and another Olympic male boxer said he couldn't tell the difference. When tested against Houston Alexander, a light heavyweight MMA fighter,
I was gonna rag on it at first because it looked like
it looked like he threw like more of a straight punch, and then she threw a hook, which would have more torque behind it.
Apparently, they even need gender dysphoria to be trans.
It looked like on the second one,
just if you feel like
and another Olympic male boxer,
it was a very similar.
Tell the difference.
Yeah, he threw the hook that time, and she threw him more straight that time.
A light heavyweight MMA fighter.
I remember him. He fought Kimbo
just as hard as him. Yes, this makes her one of the hardest hitting women of all time.
Crazy.
Widely regarded as the greatest female boxer of all time, Lucia was undefeated in all her 54 fights with women. In kickboxing, she had 37 fights and 4 world titles. Most of her fights were won by knockout. In boxing, she had 17 fights with 2 world titles. 14 of her fights were by knockout. But what happened when she fought against a man?
Let's see.
Fight fans, welcome back to another episode of Striking Breakdowns. In this episode, we explore how the best female fighter was defeated by a male fighter. This special event took place when Lucia Riker already had 4 world titles in kickboxing. Training with the legendary Vos Gym from the Netherlands, her corner included the great Ernesto Hoost. By the time of this fight, Lucia ran out of kickboxing opponents, and her trainer suggested it could be a good idea to fight a man.
Which is absolutely brilliant marketing strategy, but the wrong time. The wrong decade, rather, because this trans woman information and news hadn't reached this level and degree as it is right now. So it didn't get the necessary media attention, because even with this happening, none of us even know about it, right?
Her opponent was Somchai JD, an amateur fighter in Australia. He had a total of 40. Do you think
Paris one
to then allow? I gotta understand
why a woman is obsessed with beating a man in sport, but they know that men could kill them. I don't know. I don't think they do know. That's the problem. Until they feel that power, like he was talking about earlier, I don't think they know. They actually believe all the stuff they see in movies and TV shows where they see one woman beat up one 90-pound woman beat up like 15 men or something. And they think that shit is real. All the stuff that they get taught, a girl is just as good as a boy, a better girl can do this just as good as a boy, blah, 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 blah. Until they actually feel that power in the actual ring. They're like, oh no. I was lied to my whole life. All those Disney stories, all that feminism we were taught in the school was bullshit. I think that's what the issue is. What's going on now? What's Asmongold saying? He always has good stuff to talk about. I don't care about obesity being the N-word. Let's react to Asmongold reacting to
this right here.
What's his name? Upper Echelon.
Needs to get roasted. For anyone who doesn't,
thank you.
What's going on with this whole Mr. Beast thing then?
No, a video came out somewhat recently from someone who claims to be a former employee of Mr. Beast, and that video contains about 53 minutes of content. Too long, didn't watch, that's totally fine, because I did my own summary breakdown, which I'll link down below in the description, with legal examples and a full description about the more meaningful claims, again, linked down below. But since all that happened, another member of the Mr. Beast team has come out with a statement, and that statement is absolute, irrefutable garbage that fails to address literally any of the important issues whatsoever, in yet another example of how to irreversibly screw up your own public reputation, speedrun edition. Just to clarify, this is yet again not a video about Ava Chris Tyson. That's a whole separate problem. There's a lot of really intense issues coming out with regards to all that, and
who gives a fuck? Like, Ava Chris Tyson's a fucking freak, talking to kids, obsessed about lollies, fucking weirdo, like, should probably be in some sort of institution away from society before somebody else gets hurt. Okay? We're done. True, you know, fucking straitjacket.
Yeah, he's so right. I'm going to force
Jimmy's
forward
involved, and the list goes on. But for me, the concept of running illegal lotteries, falsifying game show results, and breaking the law is a lot more immediately interesting when it comes to the world's largest YouTuber, who is renowned across the planet for his incredible generosity, despite the fact that every single bit of it appears to be for personal gain, nothing more. Anyway.
I think that a lot of generosity and philanthropy, there are a lot of people that do conspicuous philanthropy. I don't think that conspicuous philanthropy is a problem, but I do think that it's a problem when it's done as a way to cover up an image or as a way to make something bad seem not as bad. I think that donating money and doing things that are charitable for good PR is okay, but it becomes bad whenever it's being done as a way to hide for bad PR. That's the way I see it. It's my opinion.
A video came out from a former employee who claimed essentially 3 separate things. First, the game show videos are manipulated, directly impacting the integrity of the competition.
Yes.
Second, physical products, namely Feastables chocolate bars, are more akin to lottery tickets than actual merchandise, directly targeting children, which is a pretty severe ethical quagmire. And third, during his t-shirt signing live stream events, the team is frequently offering illegal lotteries, which are either not paid out properly or otherwise violate a bevy of rules and regulations regarding sweepstakes law. In essence, the method by which Mr. Beast has risen to...
Which is, by the way, I know that I don't really want to criticize, Mr. Beast for the candy thing, but I do want to say that if I could make it a rule that kids can't buy things that have a random chance in them, I would do that. Straight up. I would do that categorically. I would do that for booster pack time the kid didn't exist.
Because I just noticed there was 5 hours of one of these live streams where they were doing all this stuff that was still like with the.
So did Mr. Beast does he lie or not?
What's the problem?
I'm trying to find out.
They gave this man.
Wait, let me watch this again.
That looks like. Creators, there's verified instances where a few random fans were chosen for things or won very large sums of money. But here's an example of what that looks like.
Oh, yeah, so he's using this as an example of it actually happening. Yeah, no, that's true.
This is crazy.
Because it seems like this happened.
Small percentage of what you have. I don't even know how I'm going to spend it all. This is unreal.
Yeah.
They gave this man 24 hours to spend $1 million. He did, while they crack jokes about how rich he is and all this other stuff.
You think he scams people?
A few years later,
that's what I'm trying to find out if it's true or not. Yeah.
This.
He did help me financially, but like giving me money for I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. That's why I'm trying to word it differently. But he did give me funds, but I just wish instead of like just because it's okay to get funds, but to help me invest and to help me be able to be stable on my own without his money, So that's probably one thing I would do differently too. That was the.
But he's just saying that Mr. Beast. I wished he helped me. I wish he taught me how to fish rather than gave me a fish. But that's not what the point of the game show was. Like, right? I don't know.
The best example.
That's not on Mr. Beast. Like, I'm sorry, but like we're gonna complain about a lot of shit, but this isn't on. Like, this is crazy, bro. Like, he gave you a ton of money. Like, what are we talking about?
Can give you is when.
He's not here to teach you. He's not a teacher. What the fuck?
I had an hour. He had somebody come to my house, and we sat down and we planned all this in an hour. Yeah, they came to my house and we played
that game though. That was Fortnite with Fry from Futurama.
So I wish I would have had more time, and I wish I would have did a couple things differently on the
Also, here's another point of this. I think there's a good chance that this video is clipped in a way that makes it seem like this guy is accusing Mr. Beast of doing something that's problematic, where he's probably just actually posting a retrospective of what I wish I had done differently in that time period.
Yeah.
So it's being cut in a way to make it look like Mr. Beast is probably the bad guy. But in fact, this guy is just providing a retrospective of what happened and what he was thinking. So I could see this actually be a completely false narrative that's created by intentional editing. It's my opinion.
Facts.
Client management side, which I guess I really couldn't help because I had to spend it. I had to spend the money and I had to like do all this. So
Yeah, there's this thing called sudden wealth syndrome. It's a psychological phenomenon where people who don't typically have a lot of money suddenly acquire a very large amount of it and then proceed to make impulsive, irrational, or self-detrimental decisions, leaving them as bad or worse off
crazy
than
that
they
you
were
just
before
run out
at
of
the
money
end of it
like
all.
that.
A lot of people probably know of this because when someone wins the Powerball or the lottery or whatever it is, they oftentimes end up back to being broke within a short span of time.
I also want to say another reason for that. This is going to sound like an asshole thing to say. It's why I'm going to say it. Is that the most of the people that play the lottery are fucking retards, and so it makes sense that if you take a pool out of retards and you give a retard a bunch of money, that they're going to figure out a way to lose the money.
That's crazy.
Because that's what people like that do. That's why they're playing the lottery in the first place. Because if they were smart, they wouldn't have been playing the lottery. I understand there's some smart people that play the lottery and people play it for entertainment purposes, but I think that you also have a larger percentage of people that are stupid and bad with money, and so big surprise that inside of a pool of people that are selected purely based on their stupidity with money, that they would in fact be stupid with money.
Because they're making really strange decisions because of sudden wealth syndrome.
Some,
Mr. Beast gives out all this money, but he intentionally condensed the timeline for this winner to a point where he had zero hope of rational decision making. For the sake of pushing YouTube content, he completely destroyed any chance that this man had of having a truly responsible outcome, which would involve hiring a financial planner, setting up a retirement fund, investing in diversified assets, etc., all of which takes time. He intentionally disallowed that from happening. For the sake of making a video...
I don't really see this as being a problem. I don't really see this as being an issue that much. I mean, it's like any sort of other, like, remember, like, we used to have that show back in the day. How many of you guys grew up with it where, like, you would go through a shopping mart and you would put everything in the cart and you could keep it for free? Yeah, like, this is one of these things where it's like, I feel like if it wasn't for this controversy, this would be one of the things that the people that are mad at him for building wells in Kenya would be latching onto. You gave them $1 million, but you didn't give them enough time to spend it. You gave somebody gold bars, but they were too heavy. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of energy to get mad about this.
More exciting and more clickable for the Zoomer kids hoping to get rich someday off of him. He funneled this winner into a pathway of completely irresponsible decision making. And I think we need to acknowledge that when we're discussing the random people who go on these game shows trying to win it big. Anyway, reading on. Next claim, quote, the train track was CGI, the bus wheels are CGI, the pit is fake. He acts like he's exposing us for using CGI to make backgrounds look cool when we have done multiple public behind-the-scenes videos with So Crispy showing this. It's clearly not a secret. On top of that, we did drive buses in that pit, and same with the train that you claim we didn't, end quote. That part, in my opinion, is totally fine. I didn't raise that point in my own coverage because I think it's incredibly weak. Editing things so that the bus wheels look like they're spinning.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, this is, again, it's like you're disproving something that's not relevant.
Is relatively harmless and doesn't strike me as a point that needed to be emphasized at all. Fair response, but not even one of the more important details. Reading on, the raccoon was a paid actor. I don't even know what to say about this. Clearly not an actor, lol, end quote. That was a joke? The guy was making a joke. Responding to the joke as if it's serious is the hallmark of someone who actually can't respond to any substance. Sensing a pattern. Bad look. Quote, island cost more than $1. Not true. We did pay $1 for this island. You can Google Mr. Beast purchases Outer Banks Island for $1, which stated this before the video was released. End quote. Yes, fact check, true. The island was sold for $1 with $27 in other taxes and fees afterwards. But that same island is now being leased back to the original owners. Not sure what to make of it, but fine. Island got sold for $1 as a gimmick. He's doing all right so far. Not the worst response ever, but he's not responding to anything of substance at all. Quote, he moved into a mansion 2 months before being in
the reason for that happening is probably something that I don't have enough accounting knowledge or tax knowledge to understand, but somebody out there does.
Video, $1 million mansion. He talks about how
there. So let me tell you
this guy.
One of the best stories in the history of hip hop.
I almost wish he had come in there on that shit because I kind of lost like a little respect for the sentiment of the verse.
Yeah, and nothing been the same since they dropped Control and tucked the sense of the rapper back in his pajama clothes.
Was that real or was that just like for the people? You know what I mean?
I think it's a sparring kind of sport.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, you know,
desperate now because they need RDJ to save them. Sorry, I don't mean to go off on the current video. No, it's all good. I'm kind of done with the Mr. Beast stuff. It's all confusing anyway. I kind of just want to play a bit of Street Fighter, to be honest. But I will put some. See if there's any new RDJ news. I'm curious. Kind of tired. I need to kind of go to bed. This is why Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Dr. Doom. Marvel's plan. Come on,
Welcome
new
back
rock
to New
stars. What are you
Rockstars. I'm Aaron
saying?
Voss, and Robert Downey Jr. is playing Dr. Victor Von Doom in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. An announcement I was fortunate to be in Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con to witness, and I can tell you firsthand, while the roar was deafening upon Marvel's most iconic tan coming back, elsewhere in the days since, the casting has raised some questions. Is Marvel now creatively bankrupt by bringing back the big guns and bell-bottoms, even when that casting confuses fans and does a disservice to the character? Or is Marvel just financially bankrupt and knows Downey can deliver billions?
I don't think he's the real Doom either.
Is it too much to ask for
Cillian Murphy might even come in
any
and
confusion that might
kill
be
him
out
off or
there?
something.
Like, why not give a new actor a chance? And would this mean that we never get a classic Latvian Doom origin? Well, after replaying what I witnessed in Hall H and analyzing more closely specifically what Marvel is doing with its Fantastic Four movie, I actually think I figured it out. Exactly why the Russos considered the casting of Robert Downey Jr. to be that crucial to the story they want to tell. Why they think it has to be Downey. So I'm gonna break it down and specifically what New Mask, Same Task really means. So Marvel's Hall H panel ended by revealing the Russo brothers were returning to direct Avengers 5 and 6, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and that Robert Downey Jr. will return as Victor Von Doom. But since most people know him to be forever and ever Tony Stark, the way I see it, there's really one of four ways a Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom could work. Option 1, Robert Downey Jr. is just playing a new character. This would be like Gemma Chan playing Cersei in Eternals after she had played Minerva in Captain Marvel, or Ralph Ineson playing Galactus in Fantastic Four First Steps after he had played a Ravager in Guardians of the Galaxy. Because this would just be saying actors are not the characters they play, and one actor can play multiple roles within one cinematic universe. Actually, I think that's what most people who aren't overthinking this are just assuming to be the case. But if that is the case, I get the concern among a lot of you, because you cannot compare Gemma Chan and Ralph Ineson to what Robert Downey Jr. was to the MCU.
You can't
he was
compare
the
that
face
shit.
of the franchise, and Marvel Studios has been so insistent on that actor equals character standard, a rule that they established and insisted that they live by, that they refused to recast T'Challa after Chadwick Boseman's death and wrote the character's death into the movies. So if Marvel ends up never explaining why it had to be
People
Robert
like
Downey
Cillian
Jr.
Murphy
as
and
Dr.
Fassbender
Doom,
is
we
doing
could
myself.
end
I
up
know,
back in
right?
the
So many other
WandaVision
actors you could have
scenario,
had.
where we keep expecting the studio to tie it back to the past role we all know him from, or it's just going to require a performance as Dr. Doom from Robert Downey Jr. that is even more transcendent than he was as Tony Stark, and that is a very high bar. Like Robert Downey Jr. Jr. is a great.
I don't think. I bet you see the original Avengers going to be a variant in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret War. Yeah, for sure. It's a shame though because it's not them, is it? Like Black Widow might show up, but we're never going to get the real Black Widow. We might get the real Hawkeye. Who knows? Fassbender comes off as well-mannered and charismatic, but with a naughty side, which I feel would make a good Doom. Yeah, he'd be a really good Doom, I think. That's actually great casting, though. In my little fan fiction, I did a little animation for that. I hope I finish one day. I casted Michael Fassbender as Adam Warlock. So it couldn't be Doom in my little universe. But yeah, Michael Fassbender would be great Doom. Probably the right age as well.
But can he completely transform what we love about him from every film role the way actors like, say, Gary Oldman or Daniel Day-Lewis can? I guess we'll see. I am excited to see what he does with it. But alternatively, there's option 2. This is a Dr. Doom from the 2010 What If storyline Iron Man Demon in Armor, or another Iron Man / Doom comic. So this What If storyline shows Victor Von Doom having as a college roommate instead of Reed Richards, the brilliant playboy.
This doesn't really make sense though, because
Tony's
in Doom's body.
And Tony's mind goes into Victor's body, and we arrive at a what if hypothetical where we have a Tony Stark who becomes Dr. Doom.
And
Comics
the
Explained
Doom inside Tony's body. Yeah, I watched that video from Comics Explained. The Doom inside Tony's body uses the green Iron Man suit. I mean, they can change that, like, to make him use his normal Dr. Doom outfit as Tony Stark, but yeah.
An amazing breakdown of the storyline that you should definitely go watch. While I think knowing this storyline could tell us the general direction Marvel Studios is going in, this storyline as it is not a story that Marvel would make a $1 billion movie out of, or pay Robert Downey Jr. upwards of $100.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. RDJ, same task, probably alluding to the task of saving the world, but to do so in his verse, he had to go bad. New mask, same task. I don't know. RDJ's put. I interpreted that as him just talking about make the MCU great again, make the MCU amazing, make a $1 billion movie, but with a new mask this time, like new mask, but same. I don't know if that's like a hint or maybe a riddle. I don't know. Sometimes it's sometimes it's the simplest answer, and I feel like he's just saying that just to say, look, I'm back. But I've got a new mask now.
million to star in.
He just wanted to rhyme.
A really good episode of the animated What If series, but as a
also
live
in
action
Endgame,
film,
Doctor Strange said 1 in 40 million chance of winning.
What
What if Tony
Similarly, there have been other comics like the infamous Iron Man in 2016, in which Victor Von Doom takes
I don't know if
the
they think
mantle
that
of
hard
Iron
about
Man.
it, man.
But think about that in the film universe.
Ever since Endgame, I just realized that they don't care about it as much as we do. So I stopped literally thinking about theories and deep stuff and deep cuts from the comics. I just remember ever since Iron Man 3 let me down when I did heavy research on Extremis and did some research on the Mandarin and the rings, what the rings are, what they could mean, how they could reinterpret it in the MCU. Then went to watch the movie and they made Guy Pearce the Mandarin, and the Mandarin was a joke. I couldn't believe it. The first half of that film was good though.
Require Marvel to have Robert Downey Jr. in
always
that
is
role.
gonna be
You could have
simplest
any
answer.
actor as Victor Von Doom taking on the mantle of Iron Man. That
Not
isn't
to
a
kill
Tony
your
Stark
buzz or
story, it's a
anything,
Victor
but
story. So that brings us
I've
to
been
option
through it
3.
of the
Tony
MCU.
Stark as the anchor being of Universe 616 has doppelgangers that exist in every universe with equally important roles. So I'll admit this is kind of a confusing explanation that I considered in our first night San Diego Comic-Con videos when I was trying to make sense of this. But basically the concept of anchor beings was established in Deadpool and Wolverine. These are beings whose deaths trigger the decay of the universe that they live in. So in the Fox X-Men universe,
I don't like that
1005,
concept. Sounds
the anchor
so
being
dumb.
is Wolverine.
Anchor being.
Throughout Comic-Con, reporters smartly
makes
asked
people
Marvel
too
sources
important.
who was the anchor being of the 616 MCU, and our friend
Nah, I'm with you. I usually don't care, but I feel like socializing right now. Yeah, I feel that Iron Man 3 was starting to fall down for the MCU.
Brandon
Yeah,
Davis asked this question.
that was when it started
Kevin
feeling
Feige
like, wait a
himself.
minute,
Sorry, is
something's
Iron
a
Man
little
the
bit
anchor
off.
being of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which anchor being is a concept.
Oh, damn, you
introduced in
asked him.
Deadpool.
The fact that you even asked that makes me very happy, and that term has ignited your imagination.
So with that answer, I think Feige was cluing us in to the fact that we might be barking up the right tree here, and that Robert Downey Jr.
knows?
could be an anchor being across several universes. Like in
Well, that
616.
makes sense because ever since in 616, I don't know why they call the MCU 616 when the comics is 616 and this was 199999 or whatever. But anyway, yeah, ever since Tony Stark died, the MCU's been degrading. Feels like it's been chipped away and just dying. It's like a slow, painful death. So yeah, Tony Stark feels like definitely the anchor beam of 616.
We have Tony Stark. In this new alternate Fantastic Four universe, he plays Victor Von Doom. In some other universes out there that we'll see soon, we could have a Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Strange, a Robert Downey Jr. Norman Osborn, a Robert Downey Jr. Superior Iron Man who's a real asshole. You see where I'm going here? But I also get this might just be too confusing, and it really does limit who could be the anchors in other universes. So we finally arrive at the explanation that I think for now makes the most sense.
Silly.
Option 4. Robert Downey Jr. plays an alternate universe Tony Stark who takes on the identity of Dr. Doom, pursuing Iron Man's philosophy to a villainous extreme. So
I don't care in general. I do care about law in general, but I'm just not excited about it as much. Yeah, you can't be excited about it, Brown Recluse. You're not allowed. Like, if they're not excited about it, why should we be excited about it? You know, that's the problem. That's the problem. They're not excited about it, we're not excited about it. If they're not making the effort, why should we make all the effort to try and look into all that stuff? The only effort I kind of put in is in House of the Dragon, because I know George is behind it, kind of, and he loves the material. He wrote the material, and he wants you to think about stuff like that, but who knows?
As proof of the unimaginable
she's a
possibilities
moneymaker.
in
More
the
money,
Marvel
more politics, 100%.
universe, we give you the one person.
That flub always makes me laugh.
Unimaginable
Possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe. He corrected himself there. Wow, 27k subs, but only 2 watching. Yeah, that's a YouTube game for you, man. Like, I swear I've been shadow banned. I don't know what's going on. I thought that the way he said that was really funny, because it's like he was like I mean, I know they used to say multiverse, but it felt like he knows that this Tony Stark is in the. It's just a variant of Tony Stark, Doctor Doom in the multiverse that we're going to see in Secret Wars. But then he changed it to universe because he didn't want to give that away.
We give you the one person.
I thought Marvel might try to get Tom Cruise. They might still do that. The amount of surprises in Deadpool shocked me.
Kind of tripped up his words there. He said, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you one person that can play Victor Von Doom. So it's not clear if Joe was trying to say Marvel Universe, Marvel Multiverse, or Marvel's multiple universes. But obviously it's an insane statement to say the one person that can play Victor Von Doom and then bring out the Tony Stark guy. Like, Joe Russo must know that. Clearly what they are saying is, this is the definitive Dr. Doom in the multiverse narrative that we are currently telling for right now. And that multiverse version of Dr. Doom must have the face of Tony Stark. Trust us, there's a narrative reason why it has to be him. Now, Robert Downey Jr., for his part, only said a few words.
New mask.
Same task. Let's see if they can break this down. Brown Recluse.
Yes, and Anthony Russo repeated this phrase: new mask, same task.
Oh, I didn't know repeated. That might change it.
What that means. It's obviously a reference to the metal mask of Iron Man.
Oh, okay. Never mind, Brown Recluse. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is worth intercepting that. Maybe it isn't as simple as I thought. I didn't realize. I thought it was just Downey Jr. just saying it. I didn't realize Anthony Russo repeated it and then he wrote it again on Twitter. That means that is quite significant then.
But the task being the same. What was Tony Stark's task? To put a suit of armor around the world, to make it a safer place, running on clean energy, replacing the weapons he built.
It must have been something they discussed about. They want us to be speculating.
Sense of futurism that Thanos called cursed with knowledge, that eventually led to Tony delving into a bit of magic by decoding time travel and wielding Infinity Stones, but he died before he could go further down that path. What if he didn't? Like, imagine, in a world without the Avengers, wouldn't a man like that eventually become basically what Dr. Doom is? The philosophies are pretty similar. The difference is the origin. Billionaire playboy on one hand, Latvian pauper in the other. Geology has been sponsoring us for over 2 years, which is crazy because that means I've been a daily geology user for 2 years to get started. But let's remember, Robert Downey Jr. is 59 years old. He's going to be in his early 60s as he's playing this version of Dr. Doom. And there's no way Marvel Studios cast him to play a Victor Von Doom with the classic Latvian origin story of the character. And when it comes to the Fantastic Four movie, Matt Shakman made it clear that Fantastic Four...
God, I hate Pedro Pascal's Reed. And I've seen some set photos. Why the fuck has he still got his moustache? At the very least, shave the damn thing off, man. I know Reed has some facial hair, like, what's his name? The guy that played Reed in Multiverse of Madness. I know he had some facial hair, but shave that crap off, man. I know he has in the comics, but not the way he has it. The Super Mario looking, you know. This cast, the best person in this cast is, what's her name again? But she is, yeah, anyway.
Is not an origin story. One of the things we decided early on was not to do an origin story. We're not
If you look at her face, she looks so much like
going up and being changed. Now,
Austin Butler.
Of early on,
She looks like she could be Austin Butler's sister. They got like same kind of features a little bit. I know this guy's supposed to be really funny and he could be like a really cool Johnny Storm. I liked him in Stranger Things. He's probably going to do a good job. But I just feel like because Austin Butler would have been a cool Johnny Storm as well, and they would have looked like proper brothers, sister, siblings. He'd had the blonde hair, everything. But this guy's gonna be good anyway, I'm sure. These two do not look like siblings. But I don't know why the fuck he's. And is he gonna be like a Latino Reed, or is he? Because Pedro Pascal can pass for white, so like that's not even a thing. But nowadays, if anyone's got even a little bit of kind of a drop of something that's not white, they just lean on that heavy. Like, he should be playing a Caucasian Reed Richards, because that's what he is in the comics, and get rid of that Super Mario stash. That's Pedro must have it in his contract to never shave that mustache off, yet they still hire him.
Was not to do an origin story. We're not telling the story of them going up and being changed.
Now, we don't know for sure if Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom will be in this Fantastic Four film before Avengers Doomsday. Matt Shackman won't say either way.
Doom is a major Fantastic Four villain. Yes. We know Downey played Iron Man in the Sacred Timeline. Yes. You guys are in a different timeline here. Is he part of the Fantastic Four film here, the first one?
Cannot say anything.
But
Pedro comes off as, I don't care about the MCU kind of
Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret
yeah,
Wars.
pretty much.
And many of us have speculated based on that.
How's this guy gone from Star Wars to MCU to Last of Us, video games, everything?
Hey, maybe it's just because I was there in Hall H and I got to see the Fantastic Four concept footage, and I was left with so much optimism for Marvel's overall vision for how they're going to keep that going in Doomsday.
And what is he going to do? Like, he's going to come in and say, "Hey, Sue, you know, I love the way you look in the night and all that." You know how he speaks, like just some his. I don't know, man. That's not how I envision Reed Richards. Reed Richards is supposed to be a little nerd that talks like this. I don't know. Like
maybe more than those who didn't see that footage or who did see
I
it.
thought they were going to make Fantastic Four diversity. They tried to just probably just to tick that box. Like they got a white passing Reed Richards. That's probably going to be Spanish in name only, not even in name, just in visuals kind of only. Keep his moustache for the diversity checkbox. But no, they're not doing that no more, man. I'm actually shocked and pleased. I think Feige's woken up between Deadpool, between bringing back Robert Downey Jr., between bringing back the Russo brothers. They could have easily made some diversity cast hiring for the Avengers films, which I think that was the original plan. But now they bring back all the white men's, all the white straight males, and they're just like, fuck it, we're going back to how it used to be. We need money, man. We spent all our money trying to be diverse, and it's not working. Now, that's not to say diversity can't work. It can't work, but these people don't care. And when they don't care, they're going to do it wrong. They pretend to care, you know. Like, if you actually cared about diversity, even the people that are diverse, even actual black people that are behind the scenes of trying to make something diverse, they don't care either, because they have this horrible thing where they care about diversity, but they don't care about the material. And then you have people that are trying to get these people in positions of power, and they don't care about diversity either. And no one there care, like, not truly care anyway. They just care about making up the numbers, and the people that do care about diversity don't care about the material, and then it's just trash. What you need is someone that cares somewhat about diversity, but loves the material. You need someone that loves the material first and foremost. That's all that matters. Honestly, diversity will probably take care of itself. Like, what? We had Rhodey, We had Falcon, because they were in the comics and they needed to be there, so they just had to cast black guys in those roles, and it happened, you know. Now, if you had someone that loves the material and cares about diversity, they'll be finding all the obscure black characters in the comic books, or person of color characters, gay, whatever, and then they'll be trying to write stories, you know, naturally about them. I know Marvel has tried to do that with Kamala Khan, Monica Rambeau, some of the other few, Captain Marvel, but they do it wrong, and they just get writers for it that don't love the material. Like a Josh Whedon Captain Marvel film would have been amazing, but they made some woman and her husband make it or something. I don't even know who the director was of that. Could you imagine if they got, I don't know, someone like the guy that directed Baby Driver to make the Marvels, the sequel? He probably would have made that crazy, you know. Not Taika Waititi, he's just as bad as it all. I like diversity, but it's got to be natural. Remember, there's only one blade. Yeah, I love that. There's only one blade. Sometimes motherfuckers still trying to skate uphill. Comic books, what's that? Some MCU producer. Literally, I couldn't believe it when I saw that video that Nerdrotic had, where it was just all the people that have been behind, producers, writers, directors, consultants, all these people that were behind these more recent Phase 4 and Phase 5 Marvel TV shows and movies. They were all like, we were told not to read the comic books. We were told we shouldn't look at the comics. We were told not to look at the source material. We were told not to. I was like, what the hell? They made sure to hire people that aren't fans to make. I was like, what the why? Like, I mean, I get their reasoning is just because they want to do their own MCU thing, but like, you still need people that are familiar with the source material, because at the very least they'll know how to write the characters. Regardless, you still got to write the characters, regardless of what MCU plot they might have.
Was mostly previs, and maybe that's why they're approaching all of this with a sense of cynicism. But based on the way that the Hall H announcements were structured, Kevin Feige was clearly planting the seeds for this version of Doctor Doom to be planted.
Yeah, Edgar Wright, that's who I was thinking of. He's the one that made Ant-Man, but quit because they changed the end of his script to make it lead to anything. Yeah, well, there you go. Edgar Wright wanted to make something really cool, probably, but he, yeah, I forgot they actually had him. But that was around when the first Ant-Man film was going to come out. That was around the time when they were still trying to make good movies. That's why they had Edgar Wright, Josh Whedon, the Russo brothers, Christopher and Marcus McFeely. You know, is it Christopher Marcus? I don't know. Are they brothers? Okay. And all those writers, they had. Man, it was a different time. They had Brian Cavanaugh. They had Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau, who loves this nerd stuff. You can see he loves doing all this stuff. Now they just hire random arty-farty female directors that don't care about this stuff. It's just not going to work. When you have your boy, like, it goes all the way back to the days of playing with toys, man. When you have your boys like setting up a Batman Lego thing or whatever, you got your characters there, we know how we're gonna do it, you know, like these kind of boys toys stuff, and then the girls want to join in, and then they just start making Batman drink tea or wear a little skirt or something. They put like the Barbie skirt on Batman and make him drink tea. They showed it in Toy Story. Yes, yes, Mrs. Nesbit. That's what they've done to the MCU. They got these women in, and they're like dressing the men up and making them go, yes, Mrs. Nesbit, I'll have some tea. That's literally what has happened to the MCU. Look, I'm not saying women can't do it, but they might as well be boy women. They might as well be tomboys at that point, but they're not every woman's going to have that same thing, but people just pretend that doesn't happen, or that pretend that doesn't exist.
This alternate universe Fantastic Four story. That's why they're...
Just to be clear, he left because they made changes. The change to Infinity Stones is my theory. Why they changed the script, probably. I wonder what he wanted to do with the Infinity Stones. They hired DI directors only care to push agenda on Marvel brand. Yeah. That's all they care about. They don't care about Marvel. They don't care about comics. They're not excited about this stuff. It's just this. They even tell them not to be excited about this stuff, even if they wanted to be. I don't know why they do that. I mean, I did say like the only reason that I've heard is that they want people just to be focused on what the MCU is doing and not what the comics did, but that just seems so backwards. You need the comics to guide.
Calling it First Steps. Shackman confirmed it was a Neil Armstrong reference, but that there were other meanings behind that title that he couldn't talk about yet. Fantastic Four First Steps, again, will be set in an alternate universe in a retrofuturist Sid Mead-inspired Manhattan during the early 60s space race, but with...
Half of me kind of hopes that they ain't the main of Fantastic Four, but they are. Because I don't like it. I don't like this. Reed, I can put these I can deal with. I can deal with these two. I mean, she's probably the best casting for Sue Storm. She's out of all this casting, she's the best. I don't know anything about this guy much. This guy could be a really good Johnny Storm, but ever since I saw her, I just wanted Austin Butler to be Johnny Storm because they actually look like they could be brother and sister. But my God, Pedro Pascal as Reed is just disgusting.
Fantastic Four First Steps, again,
for many
will be
reasons.
set in an alternate universe in a retrofuturist Sid Mead-inspired Manhattan
Doesn't
during
even
the
feel
early
like someone
60s
that would be the
space race,
smartest man in the
but with
world.
more advanced technology than we had in our reality. Marvel gave those in attendance a fantastic fan showing a map of this alternate universe Manhattan filled with Easter eggs. There's a Baxter building connected to
We've had Heath Ledger as Joker, and everyone hated that. I've had Ben Affleck as Batman, and everyone hated that when it was first called out, but people end up loving those castings, so who knows? I hope I'm wrong. I hope Pedro knocks it out of the park. He wasn't bad as Joel either in Last of Us. You know, I didn't like his casting there, but
Excelsior launch pad, which we saw a version of in the concept trailer. And of course, Excelsior is Stan Lee's catchphrase and also the New York State motto, meaning ever upward. And that launch pad is right in the middle of the East River. There's also Ben Grimm's neighborhood of Yancey Street and nods to Subterranea, which is Mole Man's dominion, and a clean energy complex on Governor's Island. The Baxter building's architecture curves downward to a massive disc shape between the tower and the launch pad. So what is this? It looks rather like a quantum tunnel pad or a type of energy core that powers both the
it
tower
looks like
and the launch
what Tony
pad.
was walking in. But that's gonna be cool.
This is all right on the East River. Reminds us of Tony Stark powering Avengers Tower with arc reactor technology in the 2012 Avengers film with a power line that ran
when the
under
MCU
that
was
East River. So
that was the bit when he flies out the river and I love that scene. The music as well.
This map of a clearly alternate New York City,
When the
so that
MCU
we
was
would
good.
know that the Doom they were introducing was a variant.
They're making
Doom
Fantastic
for
Four like the
this multiverse
Jetsons
narrative.
cartoons. Yeah, I don't mind that. I kind of think that's kind of cool and quirky, especially since they were like the first family of Marvel right in the 60s when they came out. It's kind of cool. If they're going to do that, it should make it even more like the comics then, if they're going to go be at the time when the comics started. It could be really cool actually, because it could reference so much from the early comics. It's just a shame that Reed looks like this. It's just a shame Reed looks like Super Mario instead of Reed. You know, but whatever. I feel like Reed needs to be a square-jawed nerd guy. Pedro Pascal looks like a suave Mexican dude. Or a Mexican-Italian Super Mario.
I think that is what Joe Russo was trying to indicate by saying the unimaginable possibilities of the Marvel multi-universe. Like, I trust the Russos and the movie's creative team to provide a narrative justification for why it had to be Robert Downey Jr., but I want to provide you all with just one pitch from me, just to show you that I think a narrative like this could exist out there. So imagine, in this alternate universe of Fantastic Four First Steps, in order for aerospace technology to be that good as it is in the early 60s, yet with 60s fashion and 60s television
Oh, they can do
formatting,
some Fallout
we would
shit,
need
yeah?
to be in a reality with an alternate historical timeline for all of technology, especially in aerospace. Basically, rather than Howard Stark showing off a glitchy repulsor car at an expo in 1943, Howard Stark would have needed to have existed a generation or two earlier. Basically, it would have to be Howard Stark at the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago.
Damn, technology
instead of
went fast
Victor
in that
Timely
60s.
and its temporal marvels. You see where I'm going here? Because the events of Loki Season 2 ended by altering things so that young Victor Timely never received the TVA manual through his window, creating a timeline where there would be be no Victor Timely presenting these Marvels in 1893 Chicago, and we would be in a universe completely untouched by any Kang influence. So this could set up an alternate universe Anthony Stark to be born sometime around the turn of the century, say 1901. He would be a teenager or a young man when the First World War erupted in Europe. Howard Stark would do what he did in World War II, applying his advanced weapons to help the Allies win. And young Anthony, as a young patriotic doughboy, would be fighting in the trenches. But then something happens, like the 616 Tony Stark's convoy getting bombed and him getting kidnapped, and horrified to see his enemies using his own weapons against him. This Anthony Stark would just find himself in Eastern Europe, now wanting nothing to do with his father and his father's weapons. And he could start a new life in the country of Latveria with a family who takes him in, or just someone
he lives for ages as well.
The name of Von Doom. Yet he has the same task: discovering arc reactor technology, going to college with Reed Richards and Ben Grimm. His patents for arc reactor technology and repulsor technology could be taken away from him and used to power things like a dangerous launch pad in the middle of Manhattan, a mission that would end up knocking on the door of Galactus to peer into that Baxter building, leading to apocalyptic results. Reed, to escape this doomsday, would open a rift so that he and his family could escape to another reality. But Doom, failing to protect this world from Galactus, secretly follows them into the multiverse, vowing to put a suit of armor around whatever new world he would call home. That could be the story of Doomsday. Yes, what I just described would be a what-if scenario, but it's not Demon in an Armor. It's something that would ask fans of the MCU films to consider what Tony Stark was about and what he would be if he grew up in another world where someone else was smarter and more charming than he was. He would have the same task, but a new mask. Casting Robert Downey Jr. as Doom comes after he won an Oscar for playing Louis Strauss in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, the lowly shoe salesman turned political rival, jealous of Oppenheimer's brilliance, wishing he was on the cover of Time magazine, and that he was the man who moved the Earth, pushing for the escalation past atomic weapons to hydrogen bombs in a frenzy to make the world a more secure place, while actually doing the opposite. In this scenario, Reed Richards in his parallel Earth lectures could be J. Robert Oppenheimer and his quantum theory, whereas Doom could be the Louis Strauss figure, sick of his rival's fame and arrogance and pining to take global security to a more dangerous extreme. Now, this would not mean that Marvel's past plans with Kang have to be scrapped, like Loki's defeat.
Yeah, no, start of Doomsday, just have Doom Stark come in and just destroy Kang.
This also would
destroy
not
all
mean
the
we're never
Kangs.
getting a classic Victor Von Doom origin story. There can
Just
and should be
quickly
a 616 Victor
them.
Von Doom and a 616 Latveria that we get to explore during these incursion
I
events.
don't know if they'll
and
get
further,
Jonathan
on the
Majors
other side
back
of
for
Secret
just
Wars.
that.
And this would not mean that Robert Downey Jr. could never return as Iron Man. He can play multiple characters in the same movie in Doomsday and Secret Wars. For what they're paying him, he should be nutting professoring every character in this cast. Hey, no matter what, I think we can all agree that Downey playing Dr. Doom was what this line in Endgame was setting up.
Good luck on your mission, Captain. Good luck on your project, Doctor.
Oh, right, okay.
So, what do you think? Is Marvel just
I
ignoring
think
Downey's
RDJ has
past
been
as Tony
selfish
Stark
for
and
doing
letting him play
Doctor
a whole
Doom.
new character, regardless
Yeah,
of
it
how
seems
confusing
like
that
he's
could
just,
be?
I don't know
Or
if you
is
watched
there
my Doctor
something
Doom
more to
video,
these
but it
clues
seems
that
like
had to be the face of Tony Stark
it's an
under
ego
the Doom
thing.
mask?
He's like,
Comment down below
oh,
with your
I
thoughts
won
on
an
all this.
Oscar for playing Strauss in Oppenheimer in a Christopher Nolan epic. I think I can do anything now. They gave him all the money and he was like, I'm so good that I will take Doctor Doom, this new character, and make people believe I'm him, even though I was the #1 iconic face of the MCU. That's crazy. But you know what? I keep hearing news that he might actually be a Stark variant and they're trying to throw us off, and there's lots of evidence that they could be trying to throw us off, so it might not be too bad. It is a bit strange that we're having a Tony Stark Doctor Doom before the actual Doctor Doom in the MCU. But I don't know, there's still a chance for Cillian Murphy at some point. Who knows?
Follow me at EA Boss and follow all 3 channels in the New Rockstars Network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Alright, he's gone and I'm going to be gone too, man. Thanks for being here, Bayona. Brown Recluse, if you're still here, please subscribe. And yeah, man, I'm trying to do more live streams like this where I just chill and chat and hang out with you guys. And then, yeah, it'll be fun. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.